private group, so you guys can watch it back. So welcome, listening people who have ears and listen, are you guys. And I am going to do this thing where I put the slideshow on. I figured out how to do it. So this, oh no. So here we go, hold on. I've done this every time, and I always almost get it right. It just takes a second for me to do that, okay? And then I do this, and then I bring the screen smaller on my side, and then I'm gonna share the screen, and we'll all see everything. And then we'll be off to the races. It's really fun for me to do this. One day I'll be really good at it. Here we go, and we're off. So you are inspired, right? This is Sun Buddy, my little avatar. He represents being warm and friendly, and he'll be our guide along the way. You're inspired, do your own listening table. Here to listen, no judgment, no advice, no charge. The secret, not so secret master plan is I listen to you. You feel heard. You realize that I'm not, I mean, there is training that goes into this, but I'm not doing something that takes 4 years of school, that takes 12 weeks of training. That just is a feeling. You say, I listen to you, you feel heard, then you realize you can listen to others. And all of a sudden, we have this big domino effect where people feel like they can give the feeling of being heard to other people and learn how to give that feeling to others. One life-changing conversation can have a huge domino effect in people's lives. I've had so many people come up to me and say, I've never been listened to like this. None of my friends would ever listen to me for more than 15 minutes at a time without changing the subject or making it about themselves, and being able to talk for an hour or for 45 minutes, or even something that just feels like someone in their family would judge them or their friends would try to give them advice. Being listened to in a present way can really change people's opinion of how their lives go. So that's what the diagram represents. Some people have never felt heard. It's sad, but it's true. I've met a lot of people who have said, like, I've never been listened to like this, which is incredible for me to realize that. But this is the good news. Good listening is something everyone can do. They just might not know, and this is what we're all about, is like showing what that is. What is good listening? It looks different for different people. There's no one size fits all, and this is kind of like, look, the people in Southern California like to be listened to in one way, and the people in Dallas might be totally different. Someone who joined in India said, you would never say, I'm here to listen to someone in my community. It just doesn't make any sense. People don't do that. It's not a cultural thing. So what does listening look like in different cultures? That's what we hope to find out and share with each other as people who want to help other people be better listeners. Here to listen, right? Can being a better listener change the world? Gosh, wouldn't that be cool? I hope so. If you feel like it, turn your microphones, right? We'll have some conversation going back and forth. I'll try to make it good for time. This is a listening table. More listening tables means more people who are warm and kind and working on their listening skills, spreading the message. More people equals more dominoes, the domino effect we love. And this is some guidelines that I love this drawing. It made me really proud to do it because I don't draw a lot. These are some guidelines that can help you. We want to be safe. You do table at your own risk. You don't know what's going to happen out in public. Sometimes doing a listening table on the street is not the most comfortable for you. And one of the things, like the first thing I say is like the real listening table, the most important listening table is in your heart. It's kind of corny, but it's really in your kitchen. It's in your dining room. It's at your friend's house. The people who we need to be here for, and I say need with like, yeah, we don't need to, but if there's any people we need to be there for, it's our friends, and it's our family, and it's our partners. That's who we're obligated to be there for. Your friends, these are the people you're going to be with your whole life. Just a reminder, call your friends. Don't let your friendships fade out just because of things that we're trying to get past. Listening to strangers is a great way to practice this, but ultimately this is a tool set for yourself to be able to be there for your friends and your family and the people that will be there in your lives, and to bring your whole community up. Okay, this used to be a question. I keep it in the slides anyways, because I said, do you want to hear my story? Please, somebody say yes. I made too many slides. I made too many slides. to not do it. I'm going to breeze through my story. Thank you. This is me, and these are my two siblings. We're just going to call them somebody, and we'll be better, for fun, because they're like light sources, and we're all little light sources. Does anyone else have siblings? Someone say they understand what it's like to be having siblings. Yeah, siblings. Love a good sibling story. So this is my sibling relationship. I'm just gonna open up the chat just in case anyone feels like typing, please. So one of my brothers would say something mean to me, and then I would just go smack him. Classic older brother thing. And wow, violence. It's always fun. And then he'd turn around and beat up my under brother. And then all of a sudden our parents would come in and they'd be all mad. And then they'd be, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, classic, My Loving Family. But this is what the album cover looks like. If it was a song, it's all inappropriate. And like, I try to think of the cover. Who wins here? Or This Is Love, or Learning Curves. And there's a little bit of humor, right? In the chat, type what your family's album would be or songs that could be possible. I particularly heard Go to Your Room play a ton of times. I Hate You featuring Olivia Rodrigo is a joke I like to make because it's a song. It's not a real song. Feel Like Girls Don't Cry remix. It has its moments. No Game Boy for a Week was a hit. Why did you say that? He doesn't like that. These are all things, not songs, but things that we'd hear a lot of times. Certified bangers. Gotta love them. Please take a moment to think of something that you heard in your family growing up or in your friend circle and throw in the chat just like a phrase, something that we can all connect about where it's like, what's a moment that, wasn't the best at the time? You can also say it out loud, but I will not move forward unless one person at least writes something. Please. It's all about participation. Okay, now we wait. You're lucky, I gotta love you. Nice. Yeah. Classic. We can fill these in over time, but I want to respect your time, so you guys can take your time thinking about this. This is my dad, for this case in point, and he is a writer, and this is a little bit of my story. And what writers do, which I learned, is they think of characters. Ta-da. Actually, we'll make it a balloon, because you get to choose. Writers, they always have to choose, so we have two balloons. One's a yellow balloon, and one's a blue balloon. No. One's a red balloon, one's a yellow balloon. Put it in a location, and then we make a scene. Right? This is the writing process, the creative process. You're the older one. You should know better. Heard that song a bunch of times. Here is a scene. It's like a balloon saying to another balloon, I'll never forget you, right? As a writer, you create things. If anyone's creative, please feel free to be proud of that and let me know, because you'd probably understand this. If you're not, that's why I'm explaining the writing process. Okay, so as a writer, you have to think. Why is this character saying this thing? What does the red balloon want? What is the audience? What should I want the audience to know? Right? What does the audience want to feel? And all these go into writing a scene. Right? So you think of these characters, the balloons. It's two balloons, for example. And you think, okay, does the red balloon care about the yellow balloon? Does the red balloon want to fly in the sky? Is it afraid? Does it have any secrets? Right? All these questions that you have to think of when you choose what's the character going to say. And that is not even for the other character. You have to do this every time a person has a conversation if you're writing. Okay, so that's my dad. And he tells this to me all the time because he's a writer and I'm his child. And I'm a baby in this situation. So I don't understand any of this. And he goes back to being a thing and I grow up. And eventually I understand something like this. Okay, so you got me and my two siblings all of a sudden, and my brother says something mean to me. And all of a sudden I realize, well, what do I want to say? What do I want my brother to know? What do I want my brother to feel? All of a sudden, I've got some kind of superpower. I can choose what I want to say to somebody else. And that superpower, which I would come to realize is called awareness. And I go, I wish everyone had this. And apparently, we all do. We just kind of get to it. So life goes on. I stop hitting my brother. I go to school. Oh, it's me. Oh, my gosh, it's me. Graduating from college. And I realize film is cool, but it's not satisfying. And so eventually I get into this volunteering situation. And they say, look at this organization. You basically go to prisons and you listen to people. And I remember this sign came up, and I'm just doing my whole story because I'm trying to make it fast. But I remember someone brought this sign up in this short workshop where it said mad and hurt and love. And the moral of the story is if you're mad, it's probably because you're hurt. And if you're hurt, it's probably because something you love is feeling spectrum. Does that make sense to anybody here? Is this like a concept that is like makes sense? Makes sense. Makes sense. So believe it or not, and this is something that I thought made a lot of sense. And I looked to the person next to me, then they are like, I've never thought of this. I never had any idea that this, I would be mad because I'm hurt. And it made me realize all of a sudden that some people never have felt heard, just like some people don't know these basic things. They've never had a parent that said they loved them. They never were forgiven. They only saw certain things, and that role models like the ones I had are not the role models that everybody had. And if no one's ever told you that they love you, how are you going to know how to tell somebody else that you love them? If you've ever been listened to, if you've never seen a role model forgive somebody, it's just like, obviously you're going to end up in prison if you don't know how to be kind. And so I thought that was really like a life-changing thing. And so I leave the prison. I think, how is this only in prisons? Well, maybe it exists outside. Good news, it totally does. Doink. I'm trying to think of it like an animated thing, so I make a lot of images. It's supposed to be fun. It's on the internet, right? There's all this stuff on the internet. And if you look on your phone, some of these characters you might recognize who talk about communication skills. This is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he goes, kindness is cool. You know, Tony Robbins, he says, be the best version of yourself. And David Goggins, never give up, you know. And this guy talks about being a man, and this guy talks about being a vile man. And all of it is too much. Thank you. Communication skills available online are basically, and this is a question for you, what could you use to summarize something like this? Why don't I just tell you? They're goal-oriented. You're going to either make some money because you learn how to talk to people in your business and you want to communicate with the clients, you want to communicate with the vendors, you want to talk to your team, you want to lead a team, or you want to pick up a man or pick up a woman and learn how to cultivate a relationship. And it's just like everything's about getting something, right? You want to get something, money, people to like you, business deals to go your way. I like to think of this as more like state-oriented. Terminology is kind of pending, but like you just become a more loving person. That's all you get. You become more patient and kind. Fine. Like that's enough for a lot of things. So good listening is like anyone can do. All right, now we're back. I take a class called How to Communicate. It's a 12-week course, and the teacher says learning how to communicate is a lot like learning how to swim. You can only do it by getting in the water. Can't read it. Books aren't going to tell you how to swim. I mean, you can read books, but it's not going to help. So now we're here. Finally, we pretend this is you. This is, please prepare your keyboards or your voices because you are probably one of these things: warm, kind, caring, curious, want to be heard, want better relationships, want to help others. Some of this came to you. Does anyone feel like any of these? Here is the thing again. Type it or say it. I want to know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm all of those.
All of it is good. Somebody respond. Come on, type something, say something. I want to know.
I feel the same way too. Like all of it. Yeah.
All is good.
Yeah, same.
Same. Everyone's the same. That's good. These are all good. All things that we all feel. All of them, especially helping others. Thank you, Amar. I hope that's how you're pronouncing your name, because you have fallen into my trap. That's right. I said a trap. Let's pretend this is you. If you've ever been on a plane before, which if you haven't, write in the chat because I'm not going to explain how planes work. But if you have been in a plane, there's this oxygen mask thing where you have to put on your oxygen mask before you put on someone else's. The purpose of the listening table ultimately is that you become a better listener. It's your practicing. You are getting a lot of this. You become, that's why it's in red, you become a better listener. Yes, you show other people how to feel. Okay. The purpose is to practice your listening and to spread a message, being like little billboard. This is here to listen. People can walk by and think, wow, it's so fascinating. Let's talk about listening. You get to get a message that everyone can be there for each other. Their family and friends, right? That you don't need to be there for everyone. It's impossible. I would start this listening table with 200 followers for a whole year, and then all of a sudden I made a viral video, and now I get way too many DMs. Good DMs, great DMs, friendly, but like it's impossible. It's impossible to answer all the advice. And my message is like, look, I'm going to be there for my friends and family, and you should be there for your friends and family. And everyone else has problems, but you can't solve them all. So let's see if we can all help our friends and family. then our friends and family can all help their friends and family, and then all of a sudden we've got a much better chance of helping the world. So the purpose is not to fix anyone's problems. People's problems are annoying. They're their problems. This is our chance to practice, okay? People might have healing moments while talking, which is cool. Should make a slide there. It says, yay. Okay, so you get to learn how to be a better listener. Public, here's what you learn. Patience, curiosity, control of what you say, what you don't say. Compassion, empathy. I'm going to talk, this is level 1 if you see on a thing, and there's like 2 more that eventually talk about like more about compassion, more about empathy, more about specific examples. But this is just like a ground understanding because some people really want to just jump into it. And there's basics you absolutely need to know. Personally, I did this prison thing. I took communication classes. I felt about things for a long time. So I'd say there is certain, like there's an unlimited amount of preparation you can do to feel comfortable having these kind of conversations. At the same time, you're probably going to have several conversations every day. Moral of the story is every conversation is a chance to practice. The listening table can be in your kitchen just as much as it can be outside. So you get to decide where you're going to take it. Yes, thank you, Amar. Today's Instagram post came out of me making these slides that you're about to see and me being like, dang, what am I going to post on Instagram? Let me take these slides. What you need to know. This is really important. This is probably the most important thing that I really want you guys to know. Look, if someone, you're not crisis line. I don't know if anyone is not in America, but if you are in America, then there's a thing called 988 and there's a thing called 911. Those are professionals. 988 is the mental health suicide crisis line. 988 111 is the police. Police have jobs. If you are in a neighborhood and a house is on fire, you are not going to run towards that fire trying to put it out. That's a fireman's job. If someone's suicidal, it's not your problem. And I mean this in the kindest possible way. People go through a lot of training to be there for them. The services are available over the phone 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Helping other people is important, and it's something you want to do, and help your family and friends. If someone is going through something just insane, just impossible to fix, remember, you're here to listen. Sign does not say here to help. It does not say here to fix. It does not say come to me if you're suicidal. People may. And that's why you need to know to tell them there's a phone number you should call. Or, thank you much for sharing this with me. Some form of like, I'm not qualified to talk about this. Like, this is something that I would feel more comfortable if you were to call this phone number, and this is what it is, 24/7. There are phone numbers for many things. This is not that, okay? Please know that this is like, it's dangerous to put yourself in this situation where someone could come up. I've trained with the suicide hotline. I know all the resources for Los Angeles, for the nearest hospitals, the nearest homeless shelters. It's something that I realized is responsible because you don't want to be in a situation where someone comes and thinks just because you're there, you're going to help them with whatever it is. Very important. That's why I stopped. Okay, so how do you prepare? Well, you're ready, like, okay, I'm here to listen. I'm not going to fix anyone's problems. You go over the thing. Maybe you watch the video. Maybe in the future, I'll have YouTube videos or something that helps, but I haven't got there yet. You prepare to reflect and you think about your emotions, which I'll get into. You bring a notebook. Please bring a notebook if you're willing to. It's a big thing. I bring a notebook with me every single time. I write about it on my blog. I post in the Discord. Obviously, I make videos about the thing. It is because the experience is, it happens, but you also have to internalize it. You have to take extra time to process it, to think, well, what could I said? Maybe I could have asked a different question there. Maybe I could have, listened better. This came up for me. And I think that is just as much an important process as being there, is taking some time either that night, the next day, sometime in the week, just to kind of experience, whoa, I've never had a conversation like this before. How can I bring it in? If you write it down, it helps. And then finding a location, which is easy. Okay, moving forward. Techniques. Oh, please be here. Okay, listen to yourself. This is the most important thing. What do you want to know? Now we're in today's Instagram post, okay? So this is me sitting at a table, and somebody comes up, true story. My mom died. They're sad, they're crying. Here are the questions that I want to ask. How did she die? How long did you know she was going to die? Do you have other supporting family members around to help you out? Here's the news flash. They already know everything about the situation they're in, right? The reason I want to know is because it makes me feel more comfortable. These are pieces of information they know I want to know, but maybe they don't want to talk about that. Maybe they came to just talk about something else. Their mom died, they're feeling sad. Focus on reflecting, right? It sounds like you're feeling really sad. If you can try and name their emotions by asking, hey, are you, it sounds like you're really mad about this, it sounds really unfair. There's a whole list of emotions, and we can get into that later. It's there. Your curiosity, for me, is a huge thing. I'm very curious when people share about things. I really want to know more information, and I understand that I want that, and I don't need it, so I don't try and get it. Okay, what do you want to know, right? What do you want to say? So here's me again. Here's somebody. This is also a true story. They came up and had this like beautiful hairdo. It was like a 6-year-old. I said, should I get a haircut? My friends at school don't think my long hair is cool, but one of my friends thinks it's cool, and I also really like it. You guys can see I have short hair right now, used to have very long hair, and when I was a student in school, people would kind of bully me for it, and I thought it was really cool, but it also made me really sad. And all I wanted to do was tell this kid, I was like, my heart is breaking. I am this kid. He needs to know he's cool. It's amazing. Love the hair. Well, it's not my place to give advice to him. I mean, there's a lot of things I would like to tell him. But what I said, I reflected back. What do you think you should do? Whenever someone asks you for advice, a great way to ask, to be there for them and say, what would you do? What advice would you want someone to give you? Good answers. Man, I should put that in the slideshow. Or in some kind of document. That's how you deflect. Look, I don't know anything about your situation, is what I usually say. People ask for better advice than that. I'm going to move across the country. Should I move with my best friend? Should I move with my boyfriend? I have both options. There's pros and cons of both. I said, look, I don't know you. I've only met you for 15 minutes. I don't know your boyfriend. I don't know your best friend. I don't know your relationships with either of those. Now, how could I give you good advice? That's kind of where I leave it. I don't know their situations. And we naturally want to help people, but realize that everyone in their life is going to have these opinions. And there are people that know them a lot better. So I ask what advice they'd want. What do you want to say? Here we go. Last one. What do you want to achieve? Right? Slightly different than what you want to say. Because sometimes what you want to say is like, I'm also going through that thing. Making it about yourself. Let's say this is from the Instagram post. Someone comes up, they said, I'm sad. This is more of a basic one. I want you to be happy. I like this slide because it's very obvious that you want people to be happy, but you have to realize that sometimes people are going to be sad. Is there a list of good questions to ask? Good question. I ask very little questions. Just so I'm not like totally silent. That's a question I get a lot of the time. Is do you just be silent? And often no. I'll explain what the table is. I'll say it's not part of a school project, although it might be for Arlene. Who knows? I said, look, it's just me trying to learn how to be a better listener. And if you want to talk to me, I'll listen to you. We want people's situations to be better. And part of the beauty of what we're doing is that when somebody is in a difficult situation and has other people in their lives, we can basically count on that everyone else is going to try and fix their situation. They're going to try and give advice. They're going to try and give their opinion. They're going to try and tell them not to feel bad about it. They are going to handle the fixing that this person either wants or doesn't want. So we just get to reflect. What are you hearing? I had 2 stories of people who are caught cheating on their partners. And they came up and are having a very, very sad time because their relationships were ending or over. And there was one with a kid in the middle, and they both of the people sitting were the people who cheated. And personally, I wouldn't do that myself. And it's easy to say to someone like, well, you shouldn't have cheated. Makes a lot of sense why this is happening. And I just thought in that moment, that's probably what everyone else in their life is going to tell them. Here's what you should have done. Here's what here's what you should do next. Here's why it's okay. You were going to break up with them anyways. It never meant to be. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. But is anybody going to say, wow, it sounds like you're having the worst day of your whole dang life? That's terrible. You must be feeling horrible. Doesn't matter why. Doesn't matter what they got to do. They're still having the worst day of their life. Do we need to tell them anything else than that other than just let them have that time to be sad, to be without someone else trying to say like, this is what you should do, or this is why you should feel one way or the other. And giving someone a place to just be like, yeah, I'm feeling miserable. And then they ask for advice. What advice can I possibly give? I said, I don't know. What do you want? What advice would you want? And they say something. It's a hard situation. There's no fixing it. So why, we're not really trying to fix this. I reflect. What am I hearing? Sounds unfair. Sounds like you totally regret that. I say like it sounds like a lot of the time. ... Here's a reflection. I probably would have put more slides in had I done that, but there's a lot of slides, so we're working on it one at a time. Just think of yourself like a mirror, and if you're wrong, it's okay. It sounds like you're really mad about that. No, I'm actually not. I'm sad or I'm disappointed. As long as you show them that you are trying to understand them, they'll correct you and keep going. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But you're not making it about yourself. You're not trying to give advice. And I've never experienced a time where I was wrong and someone was mad about it, because you're just showing them, like, I'm invested. I'm here for you to talk about it. I'm just trying to get some understanding. And that being wrong is okay. They correct you and they move on. And they keep going. Sometimes you might reflect something that they didn't think of. Here's a list of emotions. You just Google emotions. Maybe I'll make a list. But yeah, there's a lot of them. Sounds like you're really scared. Sounds like you're worried. Sounds like you're really proud of your daughter for running that marathon. I really, like, as many types of conversations as I've had, which is probably over 400 by now, you don't need a crazy vocabulary. You just need to listen, say what you're hearing. Sometimes people won't need you to respond. I've had times where I've sat for an hour and people just go the whole time. Body language, new slide. What's body language? You look at them, you look at them. All right, class dismissed. Do I say anything? Yes, it's a conversation, but you don't control. What advice? I talked about that. What am I saying? I'm not giving advice. Yeah, I talked about that. Just pursue understanding. This slideshow is a work in progress, so we're moving through it. Do I get bored? Totally. Totally get bored sometimes. People will talk for a long time if you let them. And every time that you get bored or experience some kind of disagreement or different emotions, that's the chance where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm learning. I am finding a way to come over a challenge. I don't want to hear him talk about this book for another 20 minutes. But I'll listen to him because I have to practice this. Because sometime in my life, someone's going to talk about something that's on their mind that I don't want to hear about, or that I know is important to them and it's boring. And it's like, my grandfather can tell the same story 100 times. And he does. And I get better at listening to him. You get bored. When you get challenged, that's the opportunity to realize that you're learning. And the good news is you don't have to like say anything. You're not being part of the conversation. You're just like, okay, I'm bored. They're talking. Okay, I'm going to figure out how to be present again. And I'm back. It's great. It's really fun when those moments happen where you think, oh my gosh, this person's going to sit here. I probably have this slide later. I do have the slide later, so I'll gamble on it. Should I record it? I would say don't. I know I do. But I want to put disclaimer that I did the table 62 times. I did it for an entire year, every week, without recording a word. Because I wasn't doing it for the whole social media thing. You guys are only here because I did the social media thing, which means it's a good idea to do it. But even in the videos I put, people's faces aren't in it. Their voices, sometimes with permission, talking to a microphone. I record very few of the conversations. I tried one with faces, but like there is a privacy that I strive to maintain. A sensitivity. I never put anyone's personal information out. The only piece of the story are about listening. There's a whole thing that goes into it. If you really want to and you think it's important and you feel like you can bring something new to the thing, do 25 tables at least before you start bringing the thing in, because all of a sudden it changes. Like now you get to have like a thought in your head like, oh, is something going to happen that's a video worthy? Is someone going to say something that's a viral video? And those thoughts change the experience. I worked very much to like not care about it, which is why I still don't like bringing the microphone. I do the time lapse, but that's about it. Change the experience. Get the real experience first. Record it later. Let's talk about it. I think that spreading the message is important. It's a great message to spread, but not at the cost of whatever it costs. How does the conversation end? It just ends naturally. Some people stop talking and say, you have anything else you want to talk about? Or they'll just say goodbye and leave. The only times I kick people out is with the timing. So I'll say, hey, I only have 23, how long can I talk? 23 minutes. If I'm there for 2 hours and someone sits down the first minute and they stay to the last minute, then I'm going to have to practice listening to someone for 2 hours, right? The amount of people you talk to is not, the more isn't better. 1 hour long conversation with someone could be the most important conversation they've had in their whole life. 61-minute conversations are going to be probably all pretty terrible. If no one sits down, you still set up. If someone comes and someone else wants to talk, look, you're not playing a game where you get paid for this. You're not like doing any. It's not fair. You don't have to give everyone their time. Like the first person who's talking to you is going to talk to you for however long that they want to. Maybe there's a world where someone says like you got 20 minutes each person. I could see it happening in the future, but we're not trying to listen to everybody. We're trying to work on our listening skills. And if one person's going to have that conversation, sometimes when another person comes up, they go, oh, I want to talk. And the other person goes, I'll wrap up. Sometimes, but I usually say like I'm in the middle of listening to this person now. You can come back later. Don't know when. Maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Who knows? More slides. I think we're close to the end. Sometimes people say this, can I listen to you? Do you want to talk about anything? Absolutely. You can tell I've talked for 40 minutes straight. I'm happy to talk about things. I just say, let's switch seats. If you're going to listen to me, we got to switch around. Because I want you to be in the listening chair. And then all of a sudden they get this experience of listening. And then you talk and they listen and, it does what it does. It's a great time feeling heard and having someone listen. And sometimes people are terrible listeners when they switch seats with you. One person says, I want to listen to you. And I say, well, I just, I don't know. I started talking about something, and they interrupted me and talked about how he was such a good listener for 5 minutes. And then I started talking again, and then he went on a tangent about social media for 5 minutes. And then I was like, okay. And then he's like, thanks for talking. And I was like, I didn't talk at all. You just talked to me for 10 minutes and said you were a good listener. So, it is what it is. Fun, though, when people sit down. Where do you set up? Great questions. Schools could be cool, right? There's some safety in schools. There's a chance of doing a club. If you get 30 people to do a table once a month, you have a table every day of the year. It's a lot of people, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. For me, the local hangout is the beach. I think a senior center would be cool. A place where I like to think, because I'm the only one doing it until now, like what if I could do it at a senior center and I do it and then I teach people to do it and then all of a sudden they do it for themselves, right? This is a community thing. If Velma does it every Thursday and then Roberto does it on Fridays, and then, random people just start doing it, and all of a sudden you've got this community that comes together. You guys are listening to each other. Because I can't listen to everybody. I'm not even going to try. Here's a map. I drew a map. You don't do it near residential houses. You don't do it near stores. You can if you know the neighborhood. But people usually are going home, and they don't want to talk to people, or they're shopping, and they don't want to talk to people. So I like to do it by the beach or the park, because that's where people go to take a walk. That's the question. Where would someone go to take a walk? What about the weather? It rains in the world. It also snows in the world. Also, this is supposed to represent what heat is like, because sometimes it's too hot. And I don't know how to draw that. The listening table is in your house. It's in your dining room. It's in your kitchen. That is the table that really matters the most. Sometimes it's just calling your friends and imagining that there's a table. Let's see. I have a slide with some text on it. Yes. In the second level of this thing, which will probably start in May, because I'm going on this road trip, we talk about when people talk about just things you disagree with, when you get advice, specific stories that have shaped experience. Sometimes people confess to crimes. Like, you're not the police. I haven't heard anyone confess to terrible crimes. challenges, the best conversations, the worst conversations. Sometimes you give advice to people because they need it. I don't have a lot of experience with that. But there was one kid who was talking about how his parents were getting a divorce, and he was trying to like stop it or make it easier. And I had to say, look, they're guidelines. They're not rules. If someone talks about something that you have experience with or just like have to say, you break the rules. You break the guidelines. Like, this is a human experience. It's not, there is no right way to have a conversation. And for me, this 7 to 10-year-old kid trying to help his parents get divorced, I had to say, look, kid, and the short answer is like, I was like, it's not your fault. It's not your thing to solve. Your parents are going to be your parents. You know, it's their problems. It's a grown-up problem. You know, you sound like you really care about them. But like, it's not your problem to solve. Felt like I had to say it. I think it was received well. I said it in a much better way. Yeah. What if a line forms? Remember, who cares? You're not at Six Flags. You don't do roller coasters every 4 minutes. You are here to listen to whoever needs to be listened to. And telling them that they have to leave isn't something I've ever felt like I had to do. And I've had people talk for me for like an hour for a long time. Okay, how do you make your own table? Well, for me, it's about $100. You get a table from Costco. It's probably cheaper than $60. Poster board's cheap. The markers are cheap. I like the ones from Home Depot. Whatever. Chairs, you can get them. Velcro, I like to use. It's basically, it's our project. It's very simple. You put signs on a table. You use tape. You use markers. This is the sign again because I'm still developing slideshows. Do you need a table? That's my favorite question. I don't think so. Some people don't want to. Some people don't have a car to bring it in. Some people don't have a table. Some people can't carry the table. Some people don't have a place to set up. It's raining. It's cold. It's on fire. Whatever it is, you don't need a table. You make a phone call. Call your friend. Tell them that you want to talk to them. Say, I got 20 minutes. You want to talk about anything? No? All right, I'll call you in a week. Grandpa, haven't talked to you in a while. What's going on? Old friend, haven't talked to you in a while. Very good. You don't need a table to be a better listener. That's like, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to do it without a table, but table is kind of like a thing right now. Recommended reading or listening. These are things that really help me. It's called Say What You Mean. It's a book. It's a podcast called Think Fast, Talk Smart. Again, obviously, Think Fast, Talk Smart is a business podcast. It talks about business skills, talks about real food skills. There's like 20-minute episodes, so it's on my website. Here's a map of the world. You can see it's white in most places, but yellow in some. The yellow places have had listening tables set up in them. Cool. Love it. Imagine this. Woo! All over the world listening. Wouldn't that be great? 45 minutes is pretty good. I was told last time that it was too long, and now it's about 15 minutes shorter. On a scale of 1 to 10, would you guys give me more than a 7? Would you put your number in the chatty? Throw it in. I accept under 10, but I just want more than 7. Well, let us close the slideshow. And that's my screen still. 10, 8.5. Thank you, Spencer. Way to be critical. I want to hear why. 9. Thank you. I love this. I know it can be better. It can be better. If you guys said 10s, then you're lying to me or being very kind. This is the slideshow. Now it's time for you guys to talk about things. I'm here to answer questions, to give feedback, to realize what I can do for the next slideshow. Last thing I say before I turn it over to everybody else is I have a Discord channel. I don't know if you guys know what Discord is, but it's basically like a chat room where everybody who wants to set up a table is, in a little group. So we can talk about our table experiences in our place. Hayden's in it. Shout out to Hayden. Way to participate. You get to practice listening. Some people want to vent in the venting thing. Talk about what we're proud of. Talk about our listening. It's online. So I'll post the link in the chat if you want it. If you don't want it, keep in touch with me by email because I want to learn from you too. So I'm going to shut up now, and I want to hear what you guys are up to.
Yeah, Orly, I'll give you feedback since you asked for it. On your presentation, I'm 8.5. I think for me is probably 9.5 for most people. I just overall is excellent. The one suggestion I'd make is I think you did a pretty good job about like highlighting what you thought was the most important things. But I think if you could do that even more, it'd be helpful, especially in, I think because you're trying to go through the material really quickly, I felt like I was taking notes too, and I felt like I kind of didn't have enough time to really get all the most important points. And then I think if you'd slow down a little bit, if you had repeated what you thought were the most critical or the most, the most vital information, that would have been really helpful.
Yeah.
But I do intend to re-listen to, after the recording, I do plan on going back and, getting that stuff I missed.
Amazing.
So thank you. That was fantastic.
You're welcome. Thank you for the feedback. I'm hopefully going to break it up into pieces and put it on YouTube videos so that everyone can watch their own. It's got these little characters. It's fun. You can refresh. You don't have to sit to the thing.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Tim Urban?
No, but I will become familiar with him over time.
Yeah. So he has a very similar style. He does blog posts, but he likes his fun drawings and he's great. He's blown up. He's just published a book that is I think doing pretty well. And
okay. Thanks, Spencer.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question, if I can ask. Just like if a person asks, comes over to if we do a table and asks, what is this about? We don't know how to say that. How do we say that? Or do you look at this Instagram page, or how do we explain it to them?
Great question. I usually just say, it's exactly what it looks like. I'm here to listen if you want to talk about anything. Is it part of an organization? I've never said yes, because maybe it is part of an organization now. I don't know. But I've usually said, no, it's just me trying to be a better listener. I don't have if you've noticed, I never put my Instagram on the table. I don't have any branding. It's not about for the moment. So yeah, I'm trying to be a better listener. And so I set up a table. I was inspired by somebody I saw online who did the same thing, you could say. Is it a cool project? Say whatever's true for you. Yeah. I have messed up saying it 300 times. People ask it a lot of times, and I'm always like, how do I explain this? I say it's what it looks like. You want to talk about something? I'm here to listen. You have probably some of my listening skills.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I've heard Tim Urban before. What Spencer was saying before. Is he the person who did a TED Talk on procrastination? I think I've heard him before. I think that went viral.
Yarrow.
Hi. My first question, which kind of I'm guessing the answer is, can it be done in any language?
Yeah. Yeah. If people speak in it.
Yeah, if I were to try to, do this in Dominican Republic, be able to do it in Spanish. Okay. And another question too. When you mentioned the 911, 988, I tend to save a lot of resources like that, public, governmental actual resources. If a conversation turns, and you have a resource, can you offer this is a national, even if they don't ask, even if it's not to an extreme that, they're an emergency, it's just a public resource that I know of, and I can be hey, this might be helpful. Is that okay?
Yeah, this whole thing, the most important thing is listening to yourself. And if your heart is saying, I should tell them about this resource because I think they might need it, you say, look, I want you to continue. Make sure you let them know that you're prioritizing listening. I want you to continue. And also, I feel like there's something that would be, it sounds like you want help in some way, right? And I want to offer you someone who can help you better than I can, because you might misunderstand what this table is for and my qualifications. Some form of saying look, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this would be better for me personally if I was to give you some actual help.
That was a great response. I wish you had written it down. I'm trying to remember what you actually said to write it down.
I recorded it. I think it's recorded.
Oh, right, yeah.
So all of these things, and I know if you guys want to set up a table like tomorrow, you know, look, I can't stop you. I'm not gonna try to. I want you to know you should do it. Like, you're never going to be ready for it, and also there's a lot of preparation you can do at the same time. So, you know, I did a lot of preparation beforehand. I'm trying to make it so that you have to do less than me, but there is definitely a period of time, sometime this year, sometime hopefully in the next few months, where I start taking, you know, the recordings, I listen back and I put them onto YouTube, where you can say, oh, I want to touch base with this part of it again. Ding dong, ding dong, hopscotch, and then you get to hear all of this stuff, or it's written down or something like that, because, you know, I think it's valuable to have that there. Valid. And thank you for asking. Definitely need to do it. And I'm okay doing it badly. I'm going to do it badly first, with just me talking to the camera, and then I'm going to make it into cool videos, because I wouldn't deprive the world of having it just until it's ready, because like waiting until you're ready is impossible. What's up, Arlene?
Hello. I'm very curious. What does the future look like for you? Like, have you thought about what you expect from the timeline? If you are thinking about expanding it in some way, I know you talked about the nearby universities, but I'm interested in, like, I know like right now it's very much just you. If you think about like having your own team, what does that look like for you?
Oh gosh, help would be incredible. Even knowing what to do is, you know, I was doing it just like, let me learn how to be a better listener, and then all of a sudden, people were like, me too. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, having a team would make it so I could have the resources Yaro asked for available.
Or specifically, can you tell us what, I'm curious, what kind of resources you most feel like you could benefit from?
That's a great question. I think someone to help me make these videos would be terrific. I'm trying to convince my younger brother to put the subtitles on my videos every freaking day. I go, Dom, can you like put the subtitles on these videos? It's so easy. It just takes like an hour and a half to do every one of them. And he's like, nah.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Here's the thing here, Orly. If you find someone that you can pay to do it, and I'll cover it.
Done deal. My heart has now melted, and I'm gonna have to melt it off the floor using wax paper and sponges. So, damn. Sending you so much gratitude for that.
Happy to help.
Yaro, what's up?
And what he was saying, the subtitles, because I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Dominican Republic and like a friend and stuff, and I'm thinking, how is he going to do this intro if he doesn't speak English?
Yeah.
I am willing to translate to Spanish if you'd like. I actually have done interpreting services, so it's Spanish. I'm willing to translate anything you need. So
Amazing. It's amazing. You need to talk to Sophia, who's in our Discord also. She helped me do one Spanish version. I think you could probably help a lot. She also said, she's fluent in Spanish, she says, here to listen doesn't make sense in Spanish. You wouldn't put that on a sign. And she's like, there's got to be a different sign when I do it in Chile. And I'm like, what do I care if it's a different sign? You know, it's the table doesn't exist in real life. It's a space where people connect to each other. So whatever works safely is fine. You know, this is like a domino effect. I appreciate that you guys ask for my advice and my opinions and stuff like this, because I'm trying to do it in a way that like we all feel like we're part of something that we get to spread. But like this is it's for you, it's for your family and friends. You know, that's like if it's good, it's good.
Oh,
So yeah, I'll take it.
So just going back to the subtitles thing, I would guess that these days there might be an AI service that could also do it. Like really,
there is. I use it. It's just like
not
there's a certain level of like I like it to have just this. Like I use the AI to do most of it, but I want to have like certain fragments of the thing. Like I want the sentences together, where the
sure.
It's small. I could ignore it. I could probably do it just like straight up to see if it works. And if it works, then fine. Maybe that's just me being wanting to have it a certain way. But yeah, AI animated videos is a big goal of mine with the little characters. Because look, I'm this person right here. This is me. I'm not a deep fake. I promise. But I am not. Like I would much rather be the sun character because everyone's the sun with somebody. And so there's a little, I have reference videos. I have an animator. I want to do it. Just have to find people like you who want to do that.
Can I propose another idea?
Shoot.
So I want to support you, right? So, and I think a lot of people would be willing to support you if you put it out there, and accept the help. So if you and you obviously growing what you're doing requires resources, right? So I encourage you to try and raise money from your followers, just whatever donation, Patreon, whatever. And I would be willing to match up to $1,000 of whatever money comes in. I want to support you.
Well, Spencer, I have to write you a handwritten note now, and I'll put pieces of my broken and shattered melty heart in a vial for you. I sell these bracelets. These say good listener, but the next one say here to listen. I just made 50 of them downstairs. I got for my birthday. I got my parents and my parents' friends, which are my friends also, to come over, and for 3 hours we just made a bunch of bracelets. So we have 50. 50 bracelets. I'm going to sell them for more than they're worth, so I can get money to do this thing.
Well, no, you should. I mean, I would say I would frame it as you're not selling it. You'd be giving them as a gift to people who want to support you.
Yeah.
So if people support you up to $20 or something, whatever, send them one.
Yes, exactly. And I have to figure out some there's a thing about nonprofits where we'll get into another day. But I know a lot of services that do nonprofit work that just, and I mean this in a kind way, that aren't able to raise enough money to do their job properly. And so my goal is to get a lot of people to know about me so that when I try and raise money, which is always and currently, and buy a bracelet, buy 700 bracelets, Spencer, that we get enough money to be able to do what we're trying to do, which is, I don't know yet. But I am, good news, haven't told anyone this, and I don't know if it's true yet, but it seems like it's possibly true. What is true is I am driving across the country in a van that says here to listen on it. Starting April 1st, I'm going to New York City. I'm stopping in Dallas, Yarrow. Please write me. And I'm going to send my listening people around the country. And then I'm going to be on the Today Show. Whoa!
Awesome.
Big goal is to have a website that works when I get on the TV on the whole nation, and to have a thing that you can donate or buy a bracelet or donate for a bracelet. This is my immediate goal. I got about 10 days before I leave, so I've got to do this thing, and I will accept any help in web design or understanding how to sell things on the computer. It's hard to know what you need because you just need a lot. Try to prioritize. When I make these videos, my first goal, because I have enough money in my saved up to be able to not have to have a job, because I just quit my job to do this for 6 or 7 months. And it's the biggest goal I have, and this may sound like a vanity metric, but I need a lot of people to know about this because my goal is to partner with, there are several nonprofits that are all about listening. Phone numbers you can call around the country called Warm Lines, which is a terrible name. Basically think of it like listening cable over the phone. There's apps that do it that you pay for, which is who are partnering with me for this road trip. They're paying for the gasoline, which is great, potentially. But you have to pay $36 an hour to talk to someone on the phone. I'm like, we got to make it cheaper than that. If I can bring, let's say I have 7 million followers, fingers crossed, that's important for metrics. If I can get a bunch of people, students, Arlene, volunteers, people who say, look, I'm willing to set up my own listening table, but over the phone, and I'll be available. Because some people don't want to set up in public. Some people have rain or hot or fire or conditions. But what if they could log on from their phone and just be there to listen to somebody? And then all of a sudden, these apps that charge $36 a person could have, well, what if I want to do the listening table version? It's on the app, but it's free, and everyone wins. Work in progress. The goal is to bring volunteers to the right organization. There are organizations out there. I'm working with the government. Well, I'm trying to. I've spoken to people. There are there's phone numbers you can call to talk to somebody, but all of them are understaffed and they pay as much as they can to their employees and $0 on marketing. And then I'm like, hey, if you had, could you do volunteers? And they're like, yeah, we don't have volunteers. No one even knows about us. The phone number for the entire state of Illinois takes 3,000 calls a month. Okay, that's not a lot, considering that almost all of them are people that call every single day. So let's say it's like 200 people know about this phone number for the whole state. And meanwhile, the one in Los Angeles takes way too many calls and no one could get someone to pick up the phone. So need more volunteers. The goal right now is more people know about this and feel like they want to improve their listening skills. And then I can say, look, you want to listen, you want to set up a table, here's an app, you can do it for free. Be there for somebody. Optics. No one does this and makes it feel cool. So that's what we're doing. Listening is cool, friendly, youthful. Spencer, Arlene, did you have something to say though?
The question I was going to ask was because I'm also in Canada, so things might be different here, and I am aware of like lines that are near me that I'm not sure what their state of like staffing is, but I was just gonna ask like what would differentiate like their work versus your work. But now I understand. And then I heard what you were saying about them needing the marketing aspect, and that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Same
work. Their work is amazing. They train people, they pay people, which is like their ethical thing. But I don't think that. I think that if you can have volunteers, I volunteered for the suicide hotline for a whole year as of like last week, and everyone who their staff and there's volunteers. And also, I know it's been an hour, so if you guys gotta go, you gotta go. It's all good. This conversation's recorded. No harm. It's all good. Suicide hotline couldn't take 300,000 calls a year if it was only people who got paid. It's volunteers that make the whole thing possible. And nobody volunteers expecting to make money off it. It's volunteering. So if you get the experience of being a better listener, it makes you better at being with your friends and family. Yeah, I would donate 4 hours a month to listening to strangers so I can get that. Fine. Same thing. Just want to find the right organization.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would be into that if it was known and there was a way to kind of, what do you call it, like bring people into it, like a process for kind of learning. And but yeah, so I actually had two kind of related questions. One was very specific. One was, what were your thoughts like when you do the table? Like I noticed like you don't have like AirPods or anything. I was like, what are your thoughts about, like, do you think having an AirPod while like listening to some music or something, or a podcast while you're waiting, do you think that would affect whether people approach you or change anything?
I bring a journal. I write in it.
Okay.
Bye, Arlene. Please join the Discord or write me an email if you can. Keep in touch. If anyone did join the Discord, because I saw a couple of people did, I try and have everyone use their names as their names if they can. It just makes you feel like a human connection. That said, the question is, do I listen to podcasts? No, I don't. I just write. I write about the last conversations. I write about the last tables. I write about what I'm feeling in the moment. It helps me be present. You made me want to answer a question that no one asked, which is like, what if someone doesn't want to come? Some people said, like, put a chessboard on your table so introverts come to play chess with you. Or like, what if you have a tent that you put over the chair so people know it's private? And if you want to do that, like, why not? Do it, experiment with it. Personally, enough people come up to talk about things. I'm not trying to. I don't ever say, hey, do you want to come talk about something? If people come to me, they come to me. If they don't, they don't. It doesn't matter to me if an introvert walks past the table and doesn't come stop, because like they didn't want to stop. It's not trying to reach everyone. It's being there so that people can reach you.
Have you experimented with different setups and formats, or you just kind of chose this and have gone with it?
I did it with just here to listen for a while, and then eventually people kept asking me advice, so I added the no judgment, no advice, no charge, which I liked, and I just liked it so much. I was like, oh, I don't know, why change it? It's really good. I can't think of anything better. I did once for one day just for fun. I said, here to listen, free advice. And I had some fun giving people terrible advice, and it was really good. And would I do that again? Sure. You know, I think that like the goal of it is to learn how to be a better listener, to iterate. And if you want to do a different sign, obviously let's say something different in Spanish. If you want to try different things, we'll try different things. You know, this is for you to learn how to be the beautiful thing is every conversation, and this is going to be my new catchphrase, is every conversation is a chance to learn how to improve your communication skills. So if you want to set up in a different way, set up in a different way. See what happens. Share it with everyone else. What if you said something? You know, I don't do the change my mind thing. I don't say come here to listen about politics. People talk about whatever they want. If they don't want to talk, they don't have to.
Yeah. So my other question was a little more general. Like, was there, like, you know, given you've been doing this so long, is there anything that you did early on that like you would change or anything like that?
This is a good question. It took me a little while to find out where the best places were. Not too long, because I knew, you know.
Like, yeah, that's something interesting in the presentation, like in detail at least, like what are the characteristics of like a really good place to set up? Somewhere someone would go to take a walk, somewhere outside, somewhere in public. Obviously you can't set up on private property unless you have permission, which I've never asked for, never got, because it's in public. You know, I do Hermosa Beach Pier because it's good. I set up where people would go, and yeah. Where I think that I ask a lot less questions now, because I got to experience like the difference between what I wanted to know and what I needed to know, and I realized I really don't need to know a lot. You know, I just need to practice being there. Did I do anything? I think that the realization that like I keep getting realizations like, oh my gosh, you know, people want to be heard. And if you just let them know you're listening to them, even by saying like, yeah, I'm listening, it's good. I don't write on my note journal while they're talking very much. Sometimes I have a silent observer join me, a second person who sits behind the table with me, and I just say like, your job is to be silent, and I explain to anyone who sits down, this person's learning how to listen also, but they're being silent, so they're not going to say anything, which is good to explain if someone joins you, because then there's no pressure for that person to talk, and the understanding is there. What I told you about explaining it, like I'm just here to practice listening. That took me a while to figure out how to say. Yeah. Sadie, what about you? Ricardo, I want to hear from you guys.
I love the idea. I love what you do. I'm trying to see how I'd be able to do this. I teach. I work with teenagers, and at one point I was a therapist, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated the therapy work. I hated the responsibility, and I hated the pressure of the session. So there's something very liberating in a sense of this idea of just listening.
Yeah.
For others, but not, you know, with such the strictures of the professional thing.
Yeah. I think it's harder. It's extra hard if you've been a therapist, if you've been a coach or a counselor, because you want to start doing that thing. You know, you want to help people. And people have joined this group and said, yeah, I want to do it at my school. I have students and I want to lead the thing. And I'm like, please do it yourself, like at least a dozen times before you start bringing other people into it. You know, and they say, I want to coach people on the street. I say, this isn't coaching. Like, coach people. Have a sign that says free coaching if you want to coach people. But people sometimes ask, like, doesn't it get tiring? Don't you like get tired of hearing people talk about stuff all the time? I say, look, I do it 2 or 3 hours a week. It's not like, it's not like it's my like 8 hours a day listening to people talk about their problems. It's my favorite part of the week, even if people talk about their problems, because I get to have human connections with people. So thank you for saying that, Ricardo. Spanish, the Spanish tables. We'll see what happens. Sadie, you're the only one, except Amar, who I'm gonna let. Oh, nice. Phenomenal presentation. Learned a lot from it. Need to head out. Okay.
So, I'm gonna be a freshman in college next year, and I'm actually planning to study psychology, and hopefully going into mental health counseling stuff. So, Ricardo, what about the whole therapy thing was like pressure to you?
There was the pressure of being ready for the session, knowing where I wanted to take it, making sure that I wasn't in any way going to ultimately hurt the patient, that kind of thing. I mean, I was very green, obviously. This was when I came out of college, and that's when I started giving therapy. So, and it was also terribly frustrating. There was okay, I'm ready, and I worked on this, and this is where today's session is going to go, and what I need to do, and right? And then people are people, and then they just came in with, "You're never going to believe what happened this week," and nothing but emotions and events came out, and I was left like, but we were going to work on, remember your whole anxiety problem, and so it was frustrating and difficult, and there was the pressure, the responsibility. I did not enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. The work, I didn't enjoy it, as opposed to my work with students, oddly enough. There was also that too, and that's very just me. I felt like one-on-one was kind of wasted, as opposed to 1 with 20, 1 with 40. Like, I could do a lot more, but that's just me, and it's very different work, obviously. So I just at some point said, what am I doing here? Okay, I've done it. Fine, I've done it. I got decent at it. So I don't want to continue doing it. But I mean, to each their own, right?
So thank you for sharing, Ricardo. I bet you're going to have a lot of valuable insight to give to our people in the Discord, because there's a big mix of people, and having someone with experience. Look, I am not saying anything bad about the experience you have. I think it's incredibly valuable to have people who are trained in mental health to be like, I am trying to say, like, you don't need to be trained in mental health to be a good listener, but dang, training helps a lot. And trying to give people little pieces of what you learned in training. So just being able to be there, it's going to be good. We're grateful to have you, even if you stop by every once in a while.
No, I already signed in on the Discord.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's also very hard to resist the impulse to say you should do this.
Super hard. That's why we're here to say, like, together we will give each other feedback. Hey, when you were, I have a little venting section in the thing. Sometimes we have conversations and say, look, yeah, you get a chance to listen to people who want to talk, and then you say, look, you like always gratitude first and validation. Look, you like shout out to you for being there when somebody needed you. That means a lot. If I can give you some advice, because you always get consent in these ways. So sure, yeah. So you were. I noticed you were really trying to give somebody advice without asking. I should really put this in the presentation. The biggest thing, the biggest, most exciting change in your life I recommend this is your homework. Tell people in your life, your family, your friends, that you are on your journey to become a better communicator. You don't have to talk about the table, but all of a sudden, if you say it like a handful of times, you have given people permission to be critical of how you communicate. And that has been incredibly impressive for me. All of a sudden I say, look, I'm trying to be a better listener. And now if I'm not listening to my friends and family, they'll say, hey, I thought you were supposed to be the good listener. And I realize, look, I'm not listening, Oh, you're supposed to be the good communicator. And you say this, because I speak in weird, I say things weird all the time, just for fun. But it gives people the awareness that they can start. And you don't have to say, like, criticize me on this, but you say, okay, I'm trying to do this. And all of a sudden they may give you feedback, which you, as a good listener in training, will always be grateful to have. And then, magically, as if someone set up a tiny little domino that just kind of stopped knocking over, when they're criticizing you about your communication skills, they will start to think about their own communication skills. And it will start to change. Oh my gosh. Well, if he said that, that's silly. What about when I think about this? And all of a sudden, I've never gotten, without going to therapy, I think therapy is important for sure, but all of a sudden, my relationship with my family has gotten so much better just because they say something about the communication skills, and then we have a conversation about communication. And those conversations are just terrific to me and my friends. It is amazing to have people paying attention to you being a good listener, because then they start paying attention to each other being good listeners. That's everything. That's success right there. Yeah. So it's about an hour and a half. We've been about here for about an hour and 20 minutes. This is kind of how I like to wrap these things up. This is so important to me, and I'm so grateful for you guys to come. So I'm going to answer all the questions that anyone has for the entirety of however long you want to be here for, but you all have permission to totally leave whenever you feel like it. I'll answer all the questions, unless it's like something I'll say is like in level 2, come back. But I'm giving you guys total permission to stay, to go. Bye, Yarrow. Please let me hang out with you in Dallas. Thank you. Yeah, so here we are. If you have more questions, I'll answer them if you want to head out.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. A pleasure.
Bye, Ricardo.
Or
I'll see you in the Discord.
Can you just kind of remind, can you elaborate on level 2? I think I just kind of must have missed it when you're talking about it.
So I'll tell some stories about the experiences, the harder conversations, the better conversations, moments that have been really hard for me to listen to, certain specifics of things like phrases you can use, things you could say, a little bit like what compassion and empathy, like just different things about what those are and what those mean to me, and how when you're listening, because I give very broad, like, this is the table, this is how you do it, this is where you do it, this is how you do it safely. But now we get into the nuance of like, well, actually, what are some phrases you can use? And what are some things that are going to be hard to hear? And some stories about what's been hard to hear for me that might make it so that you're more prepared to respond to something that you aren't at all prepared for. Storytelling.
Sorry, so and what is it? This is through the Discord, or is it a separate Zoom? Or
It's a separate Zoom. It'll be just the same as this, just at a different time. I probably won't do any more of these things until I get back from the road trip, where I'll have amazing. It'll be terrible. I'll have so many good, potentially. It's interesting, but I think that is like I think it can't be understated how much I prepared for this, even though I didn't know I was preparing for it, by taking classes, several classes, doing this workshop in prisons, doing the trainings. So even though you're never going to be ready, you're always, ready is like a made up thing. You're going to do it. Part of doing it is getting outside your comfort zone. But, I'm trying to summarize, 50 hours of what I went through into an hour and a half, which I've seen people's lives totally change in a communication workshop that took 40 minutes. This is in prison. Where they say this, the mad hurt love thing, people's lives change. But that was one little, but we go back and we do workshops of different subjects. And so it's hard to cover the whole, like, how to be a better listener, do the listening table, what success is, in such a short time, especially when I'm explaining like what the table is and, you know, how to set it up, and what my whole story took half the thing. So now we can skip that and just go like, what are the hardest times you've had? What happens if someone doesn't want you there? You know, what happens if someone talks about suicide? Well, we talked about that, but what if someone talks about their family member killed themselves and they need something, or they're very scared of something in the future? Just like kind of some of the extreme conversations to say like there is just some things to look out for. Nothing like, I mean, serious is serious depending on how you call it, but like children. Love children. They are so hard to be good listeners to because you just, for some reason, if someone's less than like 7 years old and they come and talk to you, you just want to give advice. You just want to give advice. You just want to tell them what you think about things. It's so fun to talk to kids. Yeah, I'll say like, yeah, you know, you don't have to give advice to kids. I'll give like a couple stories. It'll be like a storytelling extension of the thing. I'll talk more about like some emotions and feelings.
So just on a practical matter, you're saying this is going to happen after you get back from New York?
Yeah.
Okay. And how will you publicize it or let us know? Like when
it'll be all in the Discord. I'll probably do it on the Instagram too. This is part of my, I don't know what I'm doing as far as this thing, so I'm talking to someone else.
You're doing great, man.
Thank you. I'm failing forward successfully. I've got a lot of good people, but like as far as, you know, building the thing, I did this class this morning. I did an 8 a.m. version of it, and nobody showed up, even though like a lot of people said they would. It's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I spent the whole time making the Instagram post for the day, but just.
Oh, so is this the first time you've done this?
No, this is like the 10th or 14th or something like that.
Yeah.
And every time people ask questions, and I make the slides, and I put in the slides, and I put in the next one. I think it's more and more. I think it's a fun slideshow. I really like it. It's basically a YouTube video where I'm talking and there's images, right?
Yeah, I mean, so it sounds like you're planning to make it into a video and put it online.
Yeah. So that you can watch it, and you can watch it in parts and say, what is reflecting? Okay, let's watch this like 7-minute video, and what are some good things to say when this happens? And so it kind of like becomes a more accessible way where it's like, I don't know what time zone people's are in. Sadie's looks like she's at midnight wherever she is. It's accessibility is the name of the game for me. Like I said, there are classes available, but they're long, or there's people that are trying to sell things. And yeah, I will sell things. Don't get me wrong. I need to get some money so I can make bigger things. But these are skills everyone should have, and people just don't teach them. So making short little animated YouTube videos where people could be entertained, which is so important because like you better not be boring if you're trying to, you know, talk about this. So making fun videos is very important to me. Work in progress, but expect it.
Well, I bet you if you communicate it to your followers, right, that's something that you would want help with. I bet you people would come out of the woodwork to help you along your path.
We'll find out. You did, leading by example. I am trying to figure out how to, you know, ask for things, find out how to do it. I think selling these bracelets, fundraising a video. There's a director I really want to work with.
Yeah, it sounds like you're scared of asking, but I think it's kind of, I think the list, just like the listening, I think if you just do it, and
I wouldn't say I'm scared. Thank you for reflecting that. I would say I am. I guess I'm not scared. I want to ask when there's a way.
Yeah. That
people, let's say I have 50 of these bracelets now. I want to be able to say like, hey, I'm selling these bracelets. Here's the link. Yeah. I want to make it easy for people to be able to help, right? To say like, look, this is what I need. You know, saying to somebody, because people email me, not all the time, but sometimes saying, I want to help. How can I? And I say, look, what can you even do? You know, you're a police officer in Chicago and you want to help me, but what do I need from a police officer in Chicago? Are you going to animate the video for me?
Well, no, but like, I mean, well, you can always help. Resources always help, right?
Totally.
So you can always just say, hey, if you want to help, you know, send me whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I can spend it on hiring animators. I can spend it on, hiring like whoever I need to help.
Yeah,
No,
paying for gas across the country. Venmo is good.
No, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying to. I mean, can I? It seems like you're kind of afraid of kind of like, I guess, tarnishing, right? Like kind of the vibe. Is that the case, or?
I think that you are accurate, and I think that I really want to ask for money when there's something that people are going to. What's up, Sophia? You gotta go? I mean, Sadie.
Yeah, I gotta go. Thanks for
Bye, Sadie. You in the Discord?
Yeah, I'm in the Discord.
Which one
but
are
I'm
you?
I'm Sadie, the little rover, Animal Crossing little character.
Amazing.
I hardly ever talk in it. I'm
It's
pretty
fine.
shy on there.
It's all good. Just curious.
All right. Thanks. Learned a
Talk to you
lot.
later. Thanks for stopping by. Bye, Sadie. Hayden. Spencer, what you're saying is totally right. I am so, what's the word? I want to ask when I have something that I like, that's a goal, to say like, hey, I'm trying to do this. So here's how much I need to do it. And this is how you can participate. Right now, and I'm totally open to having a different opinion on this because it would help me break out of the thing, is right now I'm like, if I just say like, give me money, it'll make more better. For some reason, I feel like that is incomplete in a way that makes me feel uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Because I know people who do the like social media people who are just like selling stuff, or who are like, I'm a coach and I'm going to give you, and I am so not about those people.
I can see that. Yeah.
So.
No, understandably, and I like where you're coming from. I like that you want to be clean, and I admire you for it, and I think that you should, for sure. You absolutely should. Like I guess like and I agree with that. I actually like your idea. I think but it sounds like you already do know things you want to do. Sounds like maybe you just don't know how much it'll cost. Right? So maybe you say, this is my next project. I'm really not sure how much it'll cost, but I need to raise some money. I think it's probably going to be in this range. So if you want to help me, raise this money, here's the link. And I think that would, would you feel comfortable kind of ask what that kind of ask? Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce this back at you.
Yeah.
What I can do to get to that place is I can reach out to the animator that I want to work with. I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. It's very simple animation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out how much it's gonna cost for him to do what he needs to do.
Right.
And then I'm gonna have a number. Yeah. And then I'm gonna know how to ask for it. Part 2. Okay, here's part 2. I want to give optional, willing to open to criticism, open to feedback. I want to, if you give me money, I want you to get something out of it because I'm about it.
Yeah.
Right now, this means I sell bracelets.
I want to interrupt. Like I agree with that principle.
Yeah.
But I want you to realize that giving people the opportunity to support you, that alone is giving them something. Right. So when people give you money, you're allowing someone to give you money is a gift in a way. Do you understand? Allowing someone to support you, the giver gets a benefit just by giving. So something on top of that, I like I said, I definitely support your idea of, if you give so much, here's a bracelet to kind of commemorate, that's great, that's awesome. But I don't think you should make that like feel like that's a requirement, because like I give money, like people who have resources, they want to help others, right? And being able to help is good enough for any, right?
Okay. Well, you've changed my mind, Spencer.
Good.
Do you think I should do like a Kickstarter, like a GoFundMe once I have an amount, or should I? Do you think there's like that's just for me to figure out what's best?
Honestly, I think the easiest thing is just to create videos and enable to send gift or something. That's a basic one. If you want to have something more formal, for sure. Like, yeah, if you whatever, like I said, if you start a Kickstarter, whatever you do, Like, and these matching targets too do actually incentivize people statistically to give more, or more people to give. So if you say, listen, I'm doing this project and I have this other supporter who's committed to matching your donation, so it's like doubling your donation, right, up to $1,000. So just put it out there. And yeah, I don't have experience in, I don't know which platform works best.
That's fine. You've given me a rationale that I can work with. That is something I didn't have before this call. So now I'm excited.
Good. Awesome.
Now I'm starting to work out the spaces of like, okay, what would I need to do to do it good? Because I very much understand that like you have to be entertaining, you have to be like attractive.
Yeah.
But I can do this.
You're giving so much, right? It's actually a joy to give back to someone who's giving to you, right? Think about it that way. You've already given so much. So just accept something. Accept a little bit, the 10% that comes back to you.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna match $1,000, and Hayden's gonna match $1,000. Okay. What? You're not giving back, Hayden?
I would if I had money, but
Damn, son. The
Maybe
gift
once
is
I do.
listening. That's all you gotta give, man. I'm playing.
Yeah, Hayden's a better listener than I am. I keep on talking.
No, Hayden's doing good.
Yeah.
Hayden, you got any thoughts? You're always kicking in the Discord, by the way. Shout out to Hayden for keeping it real. It's possible to have a community with only one person, especially if that person is trying to listen all the time.
Yeah, I'm just listening. I'm just listening to the conversation. It's interesting to hear about this kind of stuff because I'd never like know much about like this whole content or like hiring people. I'm still very new to everything, so I'm just trying to understand a little bit. If that makes sense.
So I guess early I'm going to go too, but just before, like I told you, I actually on your trip, do you have any interest in heading? If you head towards Vegas,
yeah,
like I think I mentioned to you, I can we can meet up. I could hook you up if you're interested. I mean, obviously no big deal.
Of course.
Straight go.
I am going to Hayden. You said you had to go. Oh, Spencer, you had to go. Well, we'll go. We'll talk. Spencer, you and I are already connected on Instagram, but send me an email or just jump in the Discord. Vegas is probably.
I'll text you my number. My best thing is to text.
Great. Vegas is not on this map, but you're a van guy, right?
Yeah, I'm planning to. I'm planning to leave Vegas probably in second or third week of April and head east also.
Maybe it's not this road trip, but now it's only a matter of time.
Okay, or meet up on the way back or something. Maybe I'll be in Texas or something.
I'm sure I could learn a lot from you. I already have. So thank you, and thanks for staying this hour and a half. How does this video work? I'll figure it out. I'm just gonna post recording in the thingy. People can find it, download it.
All right, cool.
Shoot me your number, and I will continue conversating with you.
Awesome, we'll do.
Thank you.
All right, good night, guys.
See ya.
Yeah,
it's just me and you, Hayden.
Yeah,
real recognize real.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to listen about it all. Yeah, because just interesting. So I'm just listening along.
It's fun to listen.
I don't really have many questions. I was just listening, but yeah. Thank you for today. Just want to say thank you. So yeah.
Of course.
But
Till next time.
Till next time. Have a nice day.
Oh, gotta end the recording. Gotta end the recording. Okay, stop recording.